want to live a happy, productive life, but sometimes we just need a little help. Our Coach on Call experts provide strategies to help you live your best life now. Joining me today is Heidi Rome, an autism mom coach and founder of Mom's Spectrum Oasis. Heidi's Autism Hope Mindset System empowers a mom to take back her life while creating a bright future for her Spectrum child. Heidi is here today to discuss autism and spirituality. Welcome, Heidi. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Joan. It's an honor to be here.
So, Heidi, you believe that there is a link between autism and spirituality. Why do you believe this to be true?
Honestly, I had not really thought too much about a possible link between autism and spirituality. Throughout most of my autism journey with my younger son, Ethan, my attitude was very much that I had been dealt a tough hand by having a special needs kid and that I was still somehow paying my dues with God. My mother almost died when I was 4, and I was her primary caregiver until she died when I was 30. And I thought at that time that I had earned sufficient points with God, going through all that to have now my own perfect family. So when Ethan was diagnosed with autism, I felt like God had let me down or that I had let him down in some way, and this was payback. Either way, I was upset to have yet another new, lifelong caregiving challenge, now with the added poignancy of it being with my own child who I needed to worry about and even take care of beyond my own death. And I was suffering. I was in deep grief and resistance. I had started to move through the stages of grieving. I was moving through those stages when I had a conversation with Ethan that would change my life and view of autism. It would change my view of autism, of God, and spirituality forever. And so let me just say here, Ethan has autism. He's 13 years old, and he is virtually nonverbal. He has very minimal, unreliable language. And because of some very severe self-injurious behaviors, we needed to make the very hard decision to have Ethan go to a residential placement outside of Boston, away from home. And one of the communications techniques used at his prior school was one of supported typing. And so I went into the school to do extra sessions before he was going to leave so that we would have more opportunities to hear from Ethan as he would type his responses, given that he can't speak. So at this last session, I asked Ethan what his thoughts are about God. And so here's the conversation that we had with me asking him questions and Ethan typing his responses, pointing to letters on the letterboard as his teacher, Lisa, lightly supported his arm as he typed. God is in my heart, and he will always protect me. Well, I almost fell over when he typed that. Did God tell you that? When I lived in heaven, he told me that. Do you remember that time? When I lived with God, I wasn't named Ethan yet. What was your name? I was not to remember it. I had many before. Do you remember anything from that time? And at that point, Ethan said verbally, no, thank you, which is a script. Ethan has a lot of difficulty with spoken language, and much of his language is scripted so that it's a little bit easier for him. So he verbally said, no, thank you, but he typed, we should talk about it when nobody is here. So we said, well, Ethan, who should leave? Should Lisa, the teacher, leave? And he verbally said, no. Should Mom leave? Verbally, he said no. Should Kyle leave, his aide? He verbally said yes. Now, Ethan no, he says a lot. Yes, he never says. So that was a very intentional, difficult word for him to use. And so Kyle left. And Ethan continued to type. I remember life with no body. When you go to heaven, there are no bodies, just energy. Did you choose to come here as Ethan Rome? Yes. I picked to be me and have many challenges. Did you pick us as your family? We were family another time. We didn't live here. We lived in a small group, but got hurt by warriors. Why did you choose to come back with challenges? I will be greatly rewarded in eternity. Is there anything we should do to help you? I have to complete my journey as prescribed by God. Does it feel longer than you thought it would be? Yes, the journey is unfathomably, well, he was 11 years old when he typed that, by the way. The journey is unfathomably longer than expected. What should we do to help you on the journey? I had to ask again. You just have to love me, and that is your job. The rest is my job to do. You can imagine how this conversation changed my life and my feelings about autism, spirituality, and God.
So, Heidi, what do you think is the biggest implication of this belief?
How wonderful, how empowering to know that this whole autism journey and challenge is purposeful, part of God's plan, that our only job is to love our autistic child, not to fix him somehow. He is not broken. And I got this message after years of desperately trying to fix Ethan's autism. He is truly amazing, just as he is, and a divine instrument. I mean, just look at that last line. You just have to love me, and that is your job. The rest is my job to do. Talk about taking 100% accountability for your own life. I believe that is the message for any mom, from any child, in the face of any challenge. To love unconditionally as the foundation for the child to learn, to spread his own wings, to learn from his own experiences, to choose to act. To love is to be there for another, to act in their best interest through easy and hard times, no matter what. Not to change him. This big picture perspective eases the way for autism moms. You have your job description. You are your child's champion, your child's guide, but ultimately not your child's stand-in in his own life. So stay in your lane and let him drive.
Heidi, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing such an intimate experience. If you want to learn more about Heidi and her work, you can visit momsspectrumoasis.com. That's moms with an S. And to hear more from Heidi to help you navigate the autism journey, you can visit cyl.com/Heidi.